This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
And Mark, we got a jam-packed show today. First week of football is finally behind us. But before we get into anything, can I just get something off my chest?
Sure.
The Vikings fucking suck.
Yeah, they're awful.
I said it.
They're terrible.
I mean, I don't know how you are because you're a Bears fan and you expected to lose that game, but I cannot express feelings still. It has been 24 hours. Well, not even. But okay, in an hour, it'll be 24 hours since the game started. And I still cannot just make a valid thought about my team.
It was super disappointing for not Vikings fans alone, but people who expected the Vikings to be a playoff team. Now, of course, granted, it's week one.
So me.
Yeah, it is week one right now, so we got plenty of time for them to turn it around. But yeah, there was really not a single redeemable thing about the Vikings. They were terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible.
I want to go back to the offseason because at least I felt good about myself.
Yeah,
as a Vikings fan.
It reminded me, though, of how the Vikings have kind of been lately, of people keep being like,
we have so much hope, and then we just squander it.
Which is why Ricky obviously likes the Vikings as a Cubs fan.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
At least with the Chicago Bears, we hit what I expected. I considered a win.
9 points.
One possession.
Oh, okay.
One possession was a win. What did the Bears lose by? One possession.
An interception. That's what they lost by.
One possession.
Jay Cutler throwing an interception.
I love how immediately after that happened, even the announcers of the game were like, well, we know this is what's going to be in the media, but it was a good game. And it was a very good game. Bears played very well for what you would expect out of them. Nowhere near that competent. They only really had few mistakes. One being the fact that those corners exist. Don't know why they're there.
Can't blame Chris Conte now.
Well, he's a safety. Or was
he's
a safety.
Defensive back, but that's the guy.
Those corners were terrible.
Fuller slips and lets someone score. It's Chris Conte's fault. That's
it
how
still
it was.
is. Well,
it's always Chris Conte's fault.
He's got the Chris Conte stink on him still. That stink doesn't go away.
It's like a skunk.
Yeah. Also, while we're mentioning the era that was Mark Trestman and Phil Emery, it was enjoyable to watch Mark Trestman's team fail. That was enjoyable too. Of like, oh hey, even with Joe Flacco, who some people love Joe Flacco, your team still sucks. It's still bad, and it's still the offense was still exactly what you would expect.
Yep, and we got to get into I can't talk about Vikings Bears, especially my Vikings. I'll just want to kill myself.
I feel good about the Bears.
Let's get into, we got, like I said, jam-packed. We've got a lot of NFC East to talk about. There's some stories from around the 49ers. What the bloom, you shocked me week one. There's your one win of the season. But the big story, the big headline happened in the Sunday night game. Dez Bryant, second half of Cowboys-Giants, breaks his right foot. The initial report, 4 to 6 weeks, but it's looking like that is probably going to be 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like right now for the boys.
There's quite a few, injury issues that happened in week one. As usual, the early season usually has a few of these that really shakes things up.
Reggie Bush.
And of course, the biggest one of all, Josh McCown, he helicoptered his way into the injured reserve, or at least the medical center. But yeah, there's some interesting ones. Dez Bryant is the biggest one, obviously, because, this is the guy you decided to pay because you weren't going to pay DeMarco Murray. You let him leave. He's gone. Yeah, you have an amazing offensive line that supposedly anybody can run behind, but the guy you chose to pay is now not going to be here. That's your number one wide receiver. That is the option for Tony Romo. This new Tony Romo-led team, a lot is expected out of him. Now, to be fair, he did drive down the field like it's nobody's business, and Dez Bryant wasn't there. But
he still had Jason Witten, the safety blanket.
And I would still blame a little bit more. I mean, you hate to ever say, oh, that team lost that game as opposed to that team won that game. But really, the Giants lost that game. If there's ever an example of a team going out and losing a game as opposed to their opponent winning the game, this is exactly that.
Well, I mean, and this is just like you mentioned, Josh McCown being another one. Carolina lost Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, which is
to
awful.
Injury.
That's
so
awful.
Randy Gregory left the Sunday night game with an injury. You had Brandon Pettigrew left the game with Dallas. T.Y. Hilton left that bad game for Indianapolis. But if I'm looking at the Cowboys right now, and Dez Bryant had surgery today on that foot, apparently it went well. How I think the timetable, if I remember right, because Jerry Jones went on radio, and we all know Jerry Jones isn't a doctor, but he plays one on TV. How he says the timetable should be within 2 weeks. Dez can start to rehab. By that 4th week, he can go back to practicing. 6 to 8 weeks, though, is probably the timetable of 6. He's either going to miss 6 weeks or miss 8 weeks. That's how it's going to go.
And these are some big games coming up. I mean, you got divisional ones with the Giants again, with the Eagles, of course. You have the real games that are going to matter, against the Patriots, against the Seahawks, teams that
the Seahawks are...
Well, these are teams that are going to be really close matchups if Dez Bryant's there. Yeah. But without Dez Bryant, I don't think it's close at all.
The section of games that we're looking at, if 6 weeks is your best case scenario, he's playing November 1st against Seattle. If it takes him 8 weeks, he's playing at Tampa. So that's Seattle, Philly, Tampa, that range 8 through 10,
which that's
is
really
when we could see him back.
And that's not when you need him anymore. When you're playing the Buccaneers, when you're playing the Panthers, the Redskins, coming back to the Jets. Like, yeah, you have the Packers in there, the Dolphins, the Bills, assuming that the Dolphins decide to show up at some point. Those aren't games that you really need him for. I know it sounds obvious, but the Giants really needed to win this game, especially when Dez Bryant's not there, because if they won that game, they're going to play the Cowboys again.
Without Dez Bryant, for sure.
So they could have swept it, and then they would as long as they play pretty well, because you know that the Cowboys without Dez Bryant are going to lose to the Seahawks if he's not there. They'll lose to the Patriots if he's not there. There's a good chance they can lose to the Falcons, too, because the Falcons actually look pretty good. They look pretty good defensively.
The one thing this is the only thing I want to say about Atlanta, and then I'll get off. Did I not say I believe I did the preview for the Falcons, and all offseason, did I not say that Dan Quinn would have his boys defensively ready to play?
Oh, yeah.
Have I not been telling you guys this all offseason?
But now we got to see it, and now we know it's a real thing, and without Dez Bryant, and when, who's he throwing it to? He's throwing it to Beasley. He's throwing it to Witten.
Beasley fumbled, too. He had a big fumble in that game. But right now, your leading receivers from week 1. Jason Witten, 8 catches on 9 targets, 60 yards. Terrence West, 5 catches, 60 yards. Cole Beasley, 4 for 49. But like I said, he had that fumble.
So my point with that is just that a good defense like the Falcons, you're not passing it to anybody. You're going to lose that game. So they have a good chance of losing 4 of these games. If the Giants had beaten them that time and had the sweep, Giants have an easy road, assuming the Eagles stay bad, but it's week 1. The Giants would have had an easy way in to get to that playoff spot. Letting the Cowboys win this game, they didn't do themselves any favor.
However, I'm going to go on a flip side here. Dez Bryant gets hurt second half. So he played the entire first half, missed more in the second half, and the second half is where Dallas scored more of its points, 21 compared to 6 in the first half. So there may be people out there saying, well, wait, guys, pump the brakes, because Dallas actually scored more points when Dez was off the field.
Well, we have to remember that the Giants were not doing so hot in the second half themselves. We also have to remember that game plans change. That's what halftime is for. It's to make those adjustments, and obviously they knew how to make adjustments. And then beyond that, too, that also includes that last-minute drive that's in there, which was an amazing drive led by Tony Romo, the best fourth-quarter quarterback that there is. So, yeah, I mean, definitely they did well. They did better, but you're never going to be better without Dez Bryant as if you would if you had Dez Bryant. You're always a better team if Dez Bryant's on the field.
Well, and I still think, and I'm going to say it right here, week 2 at Philly, it's a must win. You have to win this game if you're Dallas, because we talked about New York, how Dez is for sure going to be out those 2 games. I mean, there's a chance, you can always say, that he plays that week 7 game, because if he rehabs really well, they could say, hey, you know what? After the bye week, you can go to it, because you'd have two weeks of rest with that Sunday off. However, Philly, if he, let's say, takes the full 8 weeks, he's going to miss the Philly game too. Both Philly games, that's 4 divisional games.
Yeah, that's awful.
The first one we're just going to count as a miss because he missed crunch time. Yeah, he came out on top, but still 4 divisional games he's missing. I mean, the Redskins are the only ones that are like, well, where do we get on the action? Sorry, you play the Dallas Cowboys late.
Yeah, Redskins, you go back to doing your thing over there. I don't know what it is that you're doing.
You go back to the cellar.
But you keep doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's really bad schedule-wise for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is the kind of thing that happens. Guys get hurt. Your quarterback number 1 and your quarterback number 2 can get hurt, and you can still go into the playoffs and still win games. I'm referencing the Arizona Cardinals.
I was expecting you to say what every single player says when someone gets hurt.
Next man up.
Next man up.
Next man up. And unfortunately for the Dallas Cowboys, there's not that many men out there to move up. But yeah, I mean, you just got to work around it. You got to work past it. The unfortunate part is, yeah, your offensive line's amazing. So Tony Romo's going to have all day to throw it. But you let DeMarco Murray leave. He's gone. So the guy you really need now is not there. Oh, you're going to Philly to
see him play. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he did not play well.
No, he didn't do well either.
He's going to do well against you guys.
He's going to get up for that
week 1 was
game.
bad. He actually set his alarm clock. He's going to wake up on time for the game this time. Yeah, it's just going to be interesting. I thought that for sure that the Cowboys are a playoff team, and I thought for sure they have what it takes to get far in the playoffs. But now they're going to be sitting there hoping for a wild card spot solely because, look who they have to play.
They may get one if the Vikings play like they did last night. They may get one.
There's some other good teams in the NFC, but yeah, I'm going to
ask you.
Vikings are terrible.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions before
16.
we move on. Number 1 is, guys like me who predicted Dallas to at least be in the Super Bowl, should we be second guessing our Super Bowl pick?
Yes.
2, the next 4 games: at Philly, home against Atlanta, at New Orleans, home against the Patriots. What is Dallas's record without Dez Bryant in those 4 games?
And just those 4? Okay, so
just
first of all,
we'll go just to the bye week. No, we don't want to look too far.
So to answer your first question, yes, you should second guess it. Not because the Dallas Cowboys are suddenly an abysmal team, not because I think the biggest thing is that they're going to be now a wild card team. Because the Eagles are going to bounce back.
So instead of Giants maybe getting that bye, they have to play that extra game.
So it's an extra game you got to play. It's tough. You're going to play harder competition. Yeah, you're going to play harder competition. Or you might just not make it. I mean, that's a very real possibility too. Yeah, we say the Vikings are the worst team in all of football, but maybe they bounce back. And maybe they take that wild card spot. Maybe the Giants, after this 1-point loss that is a huge slap to their face, it wakes them up. And they become a real team and get the wild card spot where Philly gets the divisional win.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen. So that's, I think, the thing that takes them out of the Super Bowl equation is they might not be in the playoffs because of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
The Eagles, it's a loss. At Eagles, yeah, that's a loss. Falcons, that's a loss because that defense is going to be too good. You're not going to be able to pass. Yeah, Witten's going to get the ball, but that's it. Saints, you can win that one. The Patriots, not in a million years. It's not going to happen.
So you're saying 2-2 or 1-3?
I'm saying 1-3.
Okay.
You can win against the Saints.
I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to be on the optimistic side. I think that Philly or Atlanta, you're going to lose. You'll win one, lose one. New Orleans, you'll beat. New England, you'll lose. So Saints, you're going to lose for sure. Patriots, you're going to win. Or flip it. Saints, you're going to win for sure. Patriots, you're going to lose for sure. The two birds that played on Monday night that you get week 2 and week 3, pick one. Whichever one you want to win against is good enough for me. Which one you want to lose against, whatever. That's how it's going to go.
I mean,
2 and 2.
I don't want, like you said, you don't want to go too far, but if Dez Bryant does not come back until that Buccaneers game, which is the worst case scenario.
Oh, that next stretch of 4, if he misses,
they lose all of them.
7th or 10th, I would give them a win over the Bucs.
Well, I'm saying if he comes back on that game is what I'm saying. He comes back against the Bucs, they win that. But against Giants again at New York, rematch, I think that's going to be really hard to win. Seahawks, guaranteed loss. Eagles, it's possible,
This is
but
when
it's going to be
teams
tough.
are going to be cooking.
Yeah, and I just think the unfortunate, if it's the worst case scenario, if it's the best case scenario and you only have 4 games,
Seattle.
then you're fine. You're still playoff contention and everything's going to be good. But if he misses all the way until November, that's going to be really, really hard to bounce back from. But the good news is you get a good draft pick.
You get a better draft pick than you were expecting.
Well, definitely better. I mean, you just lost like 6 games.
Let's talk about the other team from this division we were going to mention. It's the Monday night game from yesterday, Atlanta, Philly. Everyone's just ragging on the Eagles today. The running backs. DeMarco only had 8 carries for 9 yards. Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, but only 9 yards on the ground. Sproles had the most yards with 50 on 5 carries. Ryan Matthews, 4 yards and a touchdown on 3 carries. Sam Bradford went 336 yards, a touchdown, 2 INTs. The last one shouldn't have been an INT, though, because Jordan Matthews should have hung on to the ball. However, quarterbacks get the INT
Woulda,
stat.
coulda, shoulda.
What were your thoughts of the Eagles from this first game?
Well, first of all, little known fact, Andy Reid actually was calling the plays for the Eagles. That's why they threw the ball like 50 times. This is Chip Kelly's team? That's my question. Like, this is not how Chip Kelly's teams work usually. They mentioned the fast pace, but I honestly didn't feel like the Eagles were moving that fast most of the game. I maybe it's just because they never got anything really started, but I never felt like they were really moving that fast.
You know what it was, and it was an interesting point of it's not how quick they call plays like they do. Like in college, you can quickly move guys in, move guys out, but I think it was on Around the Horn today when I was listening to them. DeMarco Murray is not used to doing this stuff.
No.
He was in I am in the I formation. I am a power back right up the middle. He's not used to, okay, I got to run here. Now I got to run all the way off the field, now all the way on the field type of stuff. Yeah. Because he hasn't run the spread since he was in college.
And that was a long time ago.
When he was at Oklahoma with Sammy Bradford. So it was I think for DeMarco, it was an adjustment game for him.
But I mean, even I think Sam Bradford's probably in the same position where he got it probably better than DeMarco did, but I still thought he was a little slow.
Sam Bradford's the one offensive position that doesn't have to run on and off the field all the time.
Well, plus, he's had a lot of rest. Yeah. So he's ready to go.
Well, is that an injury check?
Yeah, he's had like 90 plus weeks of rest.
I don't get it. To me, I wasn't even my biggest, and maybe it's because he's on one of my fantasy teams, but I was thinking, where the hell is Nelson Aguilar?
Nowhere.
I mean, he got 1 catch for 5 yards, and they only threw the ball to him twice.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, what the hell? You're just going to throw it to Jordan Matthews all the time?
Now, of course, the Eagles did classic Chip Kelly, and I mentioned this just like I mentioned with the Cowboys. Chip Kelly's a great adjustment guy. You can lose in the first half and win the second half, and that's what happened for the Eagles. They won the second half, still lost the game, but at least they won the second half. They did really well. So, I mean, all of that happened, and it got better. But I wouldn't say the Eagles ever really looked that great out there. And you sit there, and Alonso had that great interception, but he also made some mistakes.
Or as SVP would say, Kiko Alonso.
Yeah, they definitely made some mistakes out there, too. But it's funny, too. The first time you're like, he gets that great interception. You're like, oh, that's why you traded for him. And then he messed up like 3 times, and you're like, why did you trade for him again?
Oh, that's why you traded LaShawn McCoy for him. But The
big thing.
Go ahead.
I'll say the big thing was Sam Bradford, though, just to kind of mention the moves. And from watching that parts, I didn't watch the entire Rams game. From watching parts of the Rams game,
besides the INTs, he didn't do that bad.
Who, Nick Foles?
No, I'm talking about Sammy Bradford.
Oh, well, yes.
Okay, the one INT, because that second INT, I'm still not pinning on him. He hit Jordan Matthews exactly where you wanted to.
But I will say, though, I still think, I watched the entirety of this game. I didn't watch the entirety of the Rams game.
Nick Foles looked great.
But Nick Foles looked a lot better.
He looked great.
Than Sam Bradford. And I know they said they want Sam Bradford because Sam Bradford has better accuracy. But Sam Bradford hasn't played in like 90 weeks or whatever
Nick Foles, 18 of 27, 297 yards and a touchdown.
I don't know. I still don't get trading for Sam Bradford. Still doesn't make sense to me. And he got up a little slowly sometimes, and I kept sitting there waiting for that injury, especially the few times he fell on his shoulder. I was waiting for the injury to happen. Fortunately for Bradford and Eagles fans, not yet. But I don't know. I'm still not convinced. I still don't see Chip Kelly's genius plan.
Do the Eagles, am I saying, okay, we're overreacting, shut up, they're still going to make the playoffs? No, because I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs in the offseason. However, I'm leaning more towards maybe we're not overreacting on this one. The DeMarco Murray stuff, yes, we are, because he's going to get it.
Yeah, he'll do it next week.
However,
probably.
It's just the thing I don't get is, and I'm going to go back to it, the Nelson Aguilar. I mentioned how he only had 2 targets, 1 catch, but you know what else just confuses me?
Huh?
What's one of the biggest things besides his receiving talent that we harped about and said and praised the Eagles for when they drafted Aguilar? Do you remember? What else can he do besides receive?
Kick return.
He can kick return. He can punt return.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Sproles has usually been, you're giving him kick return duty, but young legs rookie, Darren Sproles. I'm
usually
going with the
young guy. Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you use him as a punt returner? And hearing on like ESPN radio before the game where Mike Tirico's telling Waddle and Sylvie Chip Kelly and them are excited about Nelson Aguilar. Why didn't you try to use him more then?
Yeah, I really don't. I really have no understanding of what Chip was doing with that. Unless he's just waiting a little bit. He's like, maybe we got to let this guy get some games under him before we really unleash him. I really feel from watching this Eagles game, there's a lot more to this Eagles team that we have not seen. They did not put it out there yet. They got some more, some more to show us. They got to really just come into it a little bit more because this is a completely different team essentially.
And maybe this is just me. Sometimes I feel like Chip Kelly trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
Oh, without a doubt.
Where it's I've got this smart system. It's going to be great. I'm smarter than you because I have this system. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't, it shocked everyone week 1. And I remember, not week 1, his first year.
Yeah.
And I was all high on Chip Kelly. I remember you and Dave, because that's when Dave used to be on the onside kick with us, saying, oh, well, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. Give it till week 6. Well, it lasted that entire season. They made the playoffs. Then the next season, teams were like, oh, wait, we know what's expecting. The only thing now, and I think this is going to get less and less as the weeks go on, but it's still going to be there. The only reason the Eagles won the second half is because they tired out the Falcons' defense as the game went on.
Yeah.
The Falcons' defense, when they were right out of the gates and full of energy, stop. Okay, you can score. As the game went on because they were getting tired.
Yeah, and then, that's one of those things where teams like the Cowboys, they're going to run that ball. The Giants, they're going to run the ball. These are teams that have the ability to do that. They're going to move slowly.
Looking at the stats, Tevin Coleman, 20 carries, 80 yards. Devonta Freeman, 10 carries, 18 yards. Mm-hmm. And for Dallas, Philly next week, Joseph Randle, can you be what DeMarco Murray was? Because DeMarco Murray was, fuck it, just run the ball.
Yeah.
We'll keep the ball in our hands. Run.
The key to beating the Eagles really is just
run the ball.
Don't let the offense be on the field.
Yeah.
Just don't let them be out there because you're going to get tired if they're out there.
And when you're on offense, you can tick some time away, give your defense a little bit of a rest, kind of bring a basketball system over to play a slow tempo game. You don't have to be that fast paced tempo, throwing the ball down the court to score. Just take that time off, give your defense some time to be on the sidelines and actually get rested.
I'm just very interested to see what happens with the Eagles because the Eagles and the Dolphins are the two big ones that really disappointed. Even though the Eagles turned it around, but they really disappointed in the game.
Them Dolphins, though. Like, really? You were playing the Redskins. The Redskins. Really, Ryan Tannehill? Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's sad.
This is another team that I said you said they were going to win the division. I said they were going to make the playoffs.
To be fair, Tom Brady was still suspended when I said that. It flips once he gets not suspended. But I thought they'd make the playoffs. But, I mean, this is one of those ones where, like, in our fantasy, I don't remember which team it is. It's probably the most valuable podcast team in that league. But you're like, should we get rid of Tannehill? And I'm like, no, let's hold off on getting rid of Tannehill. Get rid of Eli Manning. Because Eli Manning, will still be there. But Ryan Tannehill will bounce back. It'll happen. We just gotta. We gotta let it happen.
We had a couple games though this week where we haven't even talked about the Steelers-Patriot game, where the Patriots just came out and just
they were great
all over the Steelers.
The weird thing, I cannot understand the Steelers because they looked really good and they played really well. They just could never finish.
That entire game though goes back to our last podcast. Not only did the entire first half, the Steelers were getting the Patriot radio calls in their headset. But
what good timing for that.
But in the second half, remember that false start penalty called against the Steelers? Well, apparently Big Ben said, and this is why I'm shocked that the Steelers didn't file a report with the NFL, where apparently, and I know Patriot fans are starting to go, oh, really? We're going to say the Patriots are cheaters. But honestly, I believe that this is a thing the Patriots might do is those linemen were calling snap counts to try to get the offensive line to jump.
Yeah.
And
that definitely was reported.
That's why Big Ben's like, what the fuck? That's illegal. That's against the rules.
And
trying to mimic a snap count.
And I mean, the tough thing about that is because you don't know how many of these things are 100% accurate, but it's a pretty commonly held belief that there's a culture of cheating within New England's team. And when you have things like that, they're not going to see anything wrong with that. That's just the way they play. Like the Saints, the way they played was they went out and they tried to hurt people. That's just the way they played.
I'm going to say one thing to everybody from New England that's listening to this podcast, and I hope that Vern, who commented on mostvaluablepodcast.com about last week's podcast, is listening, because this is why I'm going to say this. Patriot fans, just get used to it. You are the New York...
I think they are used to it.
You guys are the New York Yankees of football. You guys win. Everybody hates you. Just fucking get used to it. Just accept that everybody who is not a Patriot fan hates you.
I think the dislike of the Patriots, I think, is a little more justified.
Well, yeah.
Because there's a history of cheating.
There's a reason. It's not just, I hate you because you're winning, but just get used to it. Just like we hate the Yankees, we hate you too.
But it's so funny to me. This is one of those times where preseason means nothing, because the Patriots were terrible in the preseason. They come back and everything's good. They're right back to Super Bowl 4.
Did we expect Deion Lewis to be Deion fucking Lewis?
Yeah, and it's just so. And I mean, the biggest takeaway for me from that game was what are the Steelers? I don't get it. They play so well and then they fall apart. All their drives would just fall apart. It makes no sense. I really have no idea what to make of this team.
To be honest, in the first half, it's kind of hard to get anything, because look at it this way. When their headsets weren't working, they scored 3 points. When their headsets were, they scored 18.
Yeah. I mean, of course, some of that, too, is more of the later in the game you can make adjustments and stuff.
Here's one of the things that was said sometime on SportsCenter after, I think it was on Friday, I heard this. And I was like, that would make sense. whoever it was on ESPN, said what the refs should have done right when Mike Tomlin says, hey, I can't use my headset because we're getting the radio broadcast right away. Refs should have walked over to the Patriots sideline and says, hey, they're having problems with their headsets. You guys can't use yours until theirs gets fixed.
Well, that's the rule.
Boom.
That's what the rule is.
That's what it sets in.
That's what you're supposed to do. When the other team's headset's not working, if yours is still working, you're supposed to take it off. You're not supposed to use yours. Now, I did not read up enough or pay attention enough to know everything that went on with that stuff. And I know something I did read at one point was that when the coach would go, or the ref would go over to go examine, suddenly it would be working fine. Everything's good. So the Patriots never had to really do anything.
The way that it was I guess it was some NFL executive. When he was down on the sidelines, they worked. Once he left, they stopped working. Yeah. That kind of sounds like something shady.
I mean, and then everyone, of course, says, well, the Patriots aren't in charge of that.
Somebody.
Yes, but it's one of
getting paid by Robert Kraft is.
It's just interesting to me. Multiple teams have issues in multiple stadiums, but a lot of these issues get reported at Gillette Stadium.
You know what I love, though, and mainly about Philbin of the Dolphins? He was asked about it. Rex Ryan was asked about it. Bulls kind of got a get out of jail free card because he's new with the Jets. But I like how Philbin goes, yeah, I mean, I can't remember there being a problem at Gillette. I know we had a problem with that in Chicago. And I'm like, oh, okay, throw the Bears under the bus.
Yeah, of course.
The Bears are the cheaters. That's who the cheaters are. We found it, guys. Bears are cheating.
Of course. Well, yeah, the Bears are cheating all this time. You can't be that fucking bad with all that talent without doing something. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. A lot of teams complain about these things everywhere, but it seems that there is comment, and that was one of the things that was said a few times too, that there sure are a lot of these issues at New England. Now, this, of course, it's one of those things where, yeah, this is such a minor issue. Yeah. But it's just bad timing. Like, this is such an inconvenient time for this to happen because everyone is like, oh, cheating again, huh? Yeah. This literally could be the biggest, nothing. Like, it could have absolutely nothing to do with the Patriots. It could be such a huge coincidence, but man, is it terrible timing.
It's a terrible time for the Patriots.
I mean, it's the thing when you have somebody with a rap sheet and he's in an area
where a murder happens.
Yeah, the cops are going to go, it's that guy. We know we're just going to arrest him. Yeah. Because it's just,
or you're in the area and a liquor store gets robbed. It's like, you know what? We're going to blame you because you have the rap sheet.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
But to get off the Patriot bashing, because you can check out last week's podcast for enough of that. How about the Rookie Bowl? What did I tell you guys? Mariota's ready for the NFL. Jameis Winston's not. That's what I said all offseason. And a lot of people, you just hate Jameis Winston. Mainly,
he does.
Mainly, I'm talking about our friend, old podcast friend, Dave Oster. Oh, you just hate Jameis Winston. He's going to be fine. He didn't look fine. I mean, he did throw a touchdown in his first pass. It was to the other team, though.
He looked okay for a rookie. It's just that Mariota looked like a real player.
He made him look like shit.
Now, I did have to remind this to Ricky as well, so I will remind everybody. He played one of the worst defenses in the league. It's Lovie Smith's Tampa 2 defense. Do you guys remember how teams would walk all over the Chicago Bears? I do. I remember that very well. What did Mariota do this entire game? Slant pass. In the fucking hole.
I just don't think you're giving Mariota enough credit.
I think that people are giving him too much credit.
I don't.
He did well, but it's the easiest, softest defense to do that against. Yeah, 4 touchdowns is impressive. I'm not taking that away. But
you know
man,
what
is an easy team.
I don't think it's people giving him too much credit. It's, oh, wait, we should have been giving him a little bit more credit in the offseason. Because a lot of them expected him to play like Jameis Winston. And now that he played like this, the expectation, like the praise just goes up to counteract all the just, he's not going to do anything in his first game type of thing.
I think the biggest thing with Mariota is the thing that scares me is it looks a little similar to RG3's rookie season. come out looking really good, being a great passer, but can also run around. I'm just sitting there going, don't get hurt.
He's intelligent, though. That's the one thing.
Don't get yourself
Football
hurt.
intelligence is, I would say, better with Mariota.
Injuries happen.
Injuries can happen, but I think he's a smart enough player to, he's going to use his arm before he uses it. I mean, look at him at Oregon. He used his arm before he used his legs.
Injuries happen. We'll
That's
see what
just how it
happens.
is. And you say injuries happen. The biggest karma move of the NFL, hey, you go to injure Sam Bradford in the preseason. Hey, Terrell Suggs, you're out for the season.
Yeah, and I'm still surprised Sam Bradford's not hurt. I really am.
I still can't wrap your head around that.
I expected not necessarily karma, but just the
irony.
Chip. Really? You traded for this guy and he gets hurt week 1?
No,
that's what I was expecting to have happen.
Terrell Suggs, though, straight karma.
Yeah.
Straight karma. You go for the knee, and then you get, boom, you're out for the year with almost a similar injury, I believe.
The thing, just to go back, I do want to calm people down a little bit when it comes to Mariota. Because yeah, he got 4 touchdowns. He's not going to do that for the rest of the season.
No, but I could see him.
And he does still have to play the Bills, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Texans, the Panthers. He has to play all these good defenses.
I'm not saying he's going to have 4 touchdowns every week. However,
he's going to have more of the Cam Newton, RG3, Andrew Luck rookie season.
I am more on the side of, okay, Tennessee, you found your franchise quarterback. That's where I am at.
People were saying that about RG3.
I'm not saying, well, I mean, like you said injuries happen.
You said that about Teddy Bridgewater, Ricky. Where are you now?
Okay,
Ricky, go cry.
He's still
cry, Ricky.
I'm gonna.
The Vikings are terrible.
I'm gonna pull a cowboyism out of the books. He's my quarterback.
He is your quarterback.
He's my quarterback.
Oh, that's one of my favorite.
My quarterback, Mark. He's my quarterback.
I love it. I have to throw the Vikings under the bus.
How about this? Raiders. That's all I want to say because of
they're bad.
Just all the the Raiders are going to be good this season.
No,
Derek Carr.
Who said that?
Derek Carr, Raider fans.
Yeah,
did you not see
I did
them?
see that. It was great.
My preview for giving them 1 win and the #1 pick in the draft. Not only did Derek Carr get injured, he's probably going to play week 2 though. Not only does he get injured, but Amari Cooper, I know you didn't have you had to catch passes from Matt McGloin, which wasn't the best, but 47 yards on 5 catches, 9 targets. Not a great rookie start.
No, not at all.
Michael Crabtree, 37 catches on 5 receptions, or 35 yards on 5 catches.
It's the Raiders. I mean, I don't know what people expect besides Raider fans.
Whereas the Bengals said, suck it.
Yeah.
Everyone's doubting us. Suck
this game was like the game of extremes where I sat there kind of looking at some highlights and stuff because once again, this is the same time as my Bears game. I'm not going to not watch my Bears game.
I had read so on.
The Raiders were like, okay, they are the worst team in the league. And then the Bengals were like, this is the best team in the league. They're amazing. Look at them. So, yeah, I mean, it was really a game of extremes, and I think they really made each other look more extreme in that case.
And I mean, this upcoming week, for the Bengals, it kind of evens out because they get the Chargers, who had a pretty good game against the Lions. It was a close game all the way through. Whereas the Raiders, oh, great, you just got done with the Bengals. Try the second toughest defense from week 1 in the Ravens. Because with the Broncos-Ravens, was that their defenses being good or the offenses being bad? And I mean both of them, Ravens-Broncos. Are you giving credit to the defenses or the offense? Or giving credit to the defenses or just saying, no, those offenses were terrible?
That's a really good question. It's a really hard one to answer. I think I give a little bit of credit to... I don't know. I was going to say I give credit to the
Denver's defense.
Yeah.
Because Peyton is obviously on the decline because he's getting old.
And I
kind of agree with you now after seeing that game.
See him play? He's got no arm.
Especially in Kubiak's system.
Yeah, it just...
You would think Kubiak would go, hey, I'm probably going to only have him for a year. Let me change my system to match my quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It was tough. It was a tough one to watch. Yeah, it was...
Was it as tough as Vikings-Niners, though?
Well, I gave up on that one. That game I stopped. I watched every game that was available to me. I watched, or at least in each time slot, I watched a game. But that one's like I can't do. I was at the end of the third quarter, and I'm like I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry, guys.
I just got to throw this out there. We do power rankings, and Mark sent me his. At the end of the third and just said, fuck it, I can't watch the end of this. Here they are.
I was literally like, I cannot watch this game anymore. It is a joke.
And I love
the Vikings are terrible.
Like after you went to bed, that's when the Niners went off for 10 more points to win 20-3.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't put myself through that pain. And I hate the Vikings, so it's hilarious to me. And I still couldn't put myself through watching that game. Peyton Manning did not look very good. I'm not surprised. He'll be Peyton Manning every now and then, of course, because he's Peyton Manning. But I'm not surprised in that. Here's a question I want to ask.
Okay.
About a certain Johnny Football.
Oh, I love me some Johnny Football.
What does Johnny Football have to do, given this great opportunity to be the starting quarterback next week? What does he have to do to keep that job?
Learn how to block himself. Learn how to not hold himself. Because honestly, what I saw from that game, huge bomb for a touchdown. And then every other big play he had, big run, gets called back with holding. Interception. Big run gets called back with holding. Interception. So he's just got to do it all. He's got to hike the ball, block for himself, throw the ball, then run 50 yards, catch it himself. He's just got to do everything. Because when he makes a big play, someone's going to fuck it up. It's just Brown football. That's what
it's sad. It's sadness. It really is sadness. I do think he's got a good opportunity to win the starting job. I don't think he probably will.
Well, he's going to start this week because I don't think McCown...
Well, yeah, McCown's not going to be there.
McCown's going to be concussion down the side.
And I could definitely see the Browns being the team to say, hey, Johnny, I know you did okay week 1 and you did okay week 2. You going back on the bench for week 3. McCown's our guy. McCown is our quarterback.
Well, because, I mean, you look at their schedule, and I'm trying to load it up right now. They get the Titans week 2, which is like, okay.
Mariota will probably do well against the Browns. It's the Titans, still.
But that week 3 game, it's Oakland. So this could be 2 0-2 teams playing in week 3.
They're competing for the Sadness Bowl right now because the Bills aren't in it anymore.
However, then after that, 2 road games, Chargers, Ravens, then the Broncos, Rams, Cardinals, Bengals, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Niners, Seahawks, Chiefs, Steelers. Yeah. After you get week 2, week 3, okay, teams that we will probably win against Oakland, and then boom, shut the door.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if Johnny Manziel is at that point where he can win.
Oh, he doesn't have the talent around him.
No, not that win the game, but can win the starting job, or if they're just going to say, no, you're a backup. Once McCown comes back, McCown is in. I'm not sure what point Johnny Manziel is at for this team.
When McCown comes back from this injury, he will get the starting job. Then about 3 games in, he'll be terrible because he's a backup quarterback.
He's not good.
And then they'll be like, well, Johnny, get in there. Exactly like last season.
Have fun, Johnny.
It's exactly like last season. Then McCown will be out of here and be playing with the, I don't know, Chicago Bears because Jay Cutler will probably be out of town. He'll be playing with some team where, kind of like how Hoyer went to Houston, that kind of a thing. And Manziel will be like, oh, cool, I get the starting job, and then Jay Cutler comes in.
And then they draft somebody.
No, they won't draft somebody.
I think they might.
They won't draft.
Especially if they got a low enough pick.
They'll just keep
bringing draft
in
Connor Cook.
Veterans. Oh, that's who I have them going with in my way too early mock draft.
Yep.
Is Connor Cook, man.
I gotta go grab him.
Oh, kid looks good.
Speaking of McCown's, though, Luke McCown's commercial is funny.
The backup generator commercial.
I appreciate it.
I bet you if the generator, if he has a chance.
They gave him a chance that they'd do real good.
But let's look.
I don't think so, Luke.
Is there anything from week 1 you want to talk about that we have not hit before we move to week 2?
Well, I think we can officially say Andrew Luck is a bust at this point, right?
Oh, fuck off.
In 1 week.
Fuck off.
1 week, nothing. I think he's a bust. 2 touchdowns.
Get out of here.
The Bills were impressive.
Seahawks game. Thoughts on that? The irony of, hey, we're going to run it. Oh, nope. Should have passed it.
I do enjoy that. Well, there was 2 of those situations this week. There was the Bears 3 times passing it on the goal line at the 2.
Or should I ask you this? You saw the onside kick in overtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe Pete Carroll when he says, "Oh, well, it was supposed to be a
squib,
a pooch or a squib"? But it just didn't go far enough. Do you believe that, or do you believe they were coming out saying fucking
that's 110% bullshit right there. That is genuine, pure bullshit. Like, it's impressive that they did that so much. No, I will say, I think it's a little funny. I do think, well, I don't know. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying he does not care about that run that they didn't have happen and that Super Bowl that they lost. But I do kind of a little bit in my head believe that there's a thought in his head of like, I'm going to run it now. Oh, it still didn't work? Damn it. For that play. But then the onside kick was just trying to be smart. That's really what it was. They were just trying to outsmart the Rams. And if it worked, we'd be praising him. But since it didn't work, we're criticizing him.
Did you hear what Marshawn Lynch's mom had to say about offensive coordinator Bevel?
He needs to get more Skittles out there?
No, not that. She said, let me see if I can find the quote here. He's the worst play caller ever, and he should be fired.
There you go.
Yes, I said it. Fired.
I will say one thing about the Seahawks. Great team, and Pete Carroll, man, does he know how to put a team together, especially when it comes to having really cheap players.
And that was without Cam Chancellor.
Yeah. We'll get to that. I forgot all about Cam Chancellor. But man, do the Seahawks make some bad decisions lately. The not running at the goal line, which any of these decisions can be defended. And if they work, are probably one of those times where you're like, good job.
Here's the thing I don't get. They don't run when they're at the goal line, and the Patriots have not the strong. Yeah, they had Vince Wilfork at the time, but their front 7 was nothing like we saw from the St. Louis Rams this past week. Then they play those same Rams this week and go, well, we're going to run it on 4th and 2 or 4th and 1, whatever it was, where they probably should have play action past it.
It's in his head. It's in Pete Carroll's head. He doesn't know what to do with himself now. No, I mean, I really don't know what the big situation is here. It's interesting. I mean, it's just bad calls in a row. I mean, the Seahawks are still a great team. I still think the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl, but just some bad calls and just bad luck on some of these calls. There's that. I feel like there was another thing that you asked me or I thought needed to be said
about the Seahawks.
Yeah,
was it Cam Chancellor?
Oh, Cam Chancellor for sure. I mean, right now they're sitting there, and I think Stephen A. Smith tweeted this out where he's like, "Just pay the man already." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "No,
don't."
And when they showed at the beginning of the game or something like that, they're playing graphics and they show Cam Chancellor out, still holding out. I'm like, just cut his ass. Like, that's me. Yeah. I'm saying, you know what? You're not here. Get off my team. Because we needed you week 1 and you weren't here.
Here's the thing with Cam Chancellor.
Don't reward him for that.
I don't get is if this was the last year of his contract, I'd be, even though I hate holdouts, I'd be like, okay, I can kind of see it. Kind of. I can see where you're coming from. The reason I cannot see what he's coming from is you signed this contract before last season.
Yeah.
And a year later, because you know how contracts work, right? You sign one, and then the next guy who's may not be better than you, but the next big guy gets more money than you. That's how contracts work. They use
yours as an example.
Yours becomes the base because you are at the top. A year later to say, nah, fuck that, I want a new one. Why didn't you just sign a 1-year contract then?
Yeah, and two things. A, you signed that contract.
That was your own fault for signing a 4-year contract.
If you didn't want it in those terms, then get it in different terms. The other thing is, you just got to play. Like, you have no leverage.
I can see that you just have no thoughts for what's going on. You're just like...
You have no... Well, he's got no leverage. I mean, yes, your Seahawks lost.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
But the Seahawks, they're not going to pay you because they lost a game. I mean, if they lose 16 games, they might pay you. But in that case, I'm sitting there. I'm going to be vengeful and be like, no, screw you. Get off this team. You're gonna sit here and you're gonna sit all next season. I don't care if you end the holdout. You're sitting your ass. I'm not putting up with that.
Let's move on to week 2. Some interesting games going on. Some of the lesser interesting. It's still interesting, but of lesser teams. You have Houston and Carolina. Carolina looked great. Well, 20 points, great, but they played Jacksonville. Houston, who was on Hard Knocks, it's like, who are you going to start? You pulled Brian Hoyer week 1. Are you going to now start Ryan Mallett week 2? Is this how this is going to be?
I mean, at least there's upside with Mallett.
Are you doing quarterback by committee? We also have Lions-Vikings. Both of those two teams getting losses. Who can get in the win column first? Chargers-Bengals should be a great game. Mariota versus another former Heisman winner and Johnny Manziel. Sunday night's going to be great. Of course, Seahawks-Packers, Cowboys-Eagles. You have Patriots-Bills. Which is the must-watch game? If you had to pick one game this week, what's the must-watch?
Must-watch game is going to be Patriots-Bills.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yep, that's
either
the best
that
game
or
here.
Cowboys-Eagles.
No, Patriots-Bills is the best game. I mean, Cowboys-Eagles is going to be a really good game.
Is it because both of them are 1-0?
For the Bills one? No, I think because the Bills, Bills fans are going to say, well, we knew. But the Bills surprised people being able to really shut down Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck's an amazing quarterback. So what can they do against Tom Brady? That's what I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
And then the other situation is just Tom Brady doesn't care who's there.
Plus, Rex Ryan teams get up to play the Patriots a little bit more.
He knows
That's just how it
all
is.
about the Patriots.
I mean, and Tyrod Taylor, where the hell did he come from? I mean, I know that people like Trent Dilfer, who had a hard-on for
Kaepernick.
Ryan Kaepernick during the Monday
Colin
game.
Kaepernick, yeah.
He even said where it was like, I heard people from Boston say, Tyrod Taylor's really good, but there was no way he was going to start over Joe Flacco. Is this really, should we have seen this coming from Tyrod?
I think it's, I don't know. I think this might just be right time, right place for Tyrod Taylor.
Or, man, think about it. And I'm not saying he will. I'm not hoping he does, obviously. But if Tyrod gets injured and Matt Castle comes in, Patriots, Matt Castle.
I think they got rid of Castle.
No, they re-signed him.
Oh, they did?
They re-signed Matt Castle before week 1.
Interesting.
So Matt Castle's on the roster.
He is there. He is ready to play.
He's ready if they need him. I don't think they'll need him against the Patriots.
No, I think, Tyrod Taylor, I think, could be one of those cool situations or cool stories of, like Kurt Warner, for example, being the guy no one ever would expect and then all of a sudden can do some good stuff. I don't want to go that far and put him in Kurt Warner territory, but let's be optimistic here. And I think he's on a good enough team with a lot of great pieces to where he could do some good stuff.
What about the Thursday night game? And be careful what you say, because one of our listeners, Josh, is an avid Chiefs fan. Broncos Chiefs.
Well, I think Josh would be happy with me because Josh knows how I feel about these Broncos. I mean, they won a game, but Peyton Manning, what's going on there? He didn't have enough arm last season. Now he's got too much arm. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's just coming down for him. I mean,
does Alex Smith
he's
have
a game manager
performance?
Completely.
Does he have a repeat performance, or does the Broncos D kind of keep him in check?
Well, what's going on with Kelsey out there? I mean, is he gonna be there? I know he got hurt. I didn't pay attention to the injury. I mean, we all know that Alex Smith does not like to throw touchdowns to wide receivers. So if his tight end's not there, I don't know what he's going to do. He'll have to throw it to himself in order to get a touchdown. But yeah, I definitely think the Broncos can win this game, but I am definitely leaning a little bit more towards the Chiefs just because that offense did not show anything good. The defense was fine. Defense was actually good.
The last thing on Roto World for Travis Kelce says Travis Kelce hip is practicing in full for week 2 against Broncos.
So he'll probably be there.
Yeah, he's going to play.
And I think that kind of definitely pushes my edge over to the Chiefs.
There's one thing I'm thinking, though, is, and it goes back to our discussion of week 1, should we give Denver's defenses credit? And if so, they're going to be able to keep Smith in check, right?
I would
a little bit more.
You think so, but
maybe 1 touchdown instead of 3.
Yeah,
and Jamal Charles.
He's
where
there.
the hell are you? He didn't do much for me fantasy wise.
Yeah, you hope he shows up. DeMarco Murray's the same. You hope these guys show up at some point. I don't know. This might be a surprisingly low-scoring game. I mean, people don't expect Peyton Manning, but this is really going to be game manager off. Who can manage that game just a little bit better? Because, I mean, that's all Peyton Manning is. That's all Alex Smith is at this point. So who can just throw short little dink and dunks down the field more than the other guy?
What about Bengals Chargers? Or not Bengals Chargers. Let's go Falcons Giants. That's another game where I'm going, okay, Giants should be 1-0 right now. Falcons looked good on Monday night.
No, the Giants should not be 1-0. They deserve to lose that game.
No, I'm saying they should have
embarrassed.
done the right thing. They should have.
Yeah.
Eli should have taken the sack. They should have.
They should be embarrassed. They should have taken out a public apology in the newspaper.
To the city of New York.
Yeah, to all of football for putting us through that joke. I mean, I have no idea what they're thinking. I get the rationale at first of like, all right, don't get the touchdown. Saying that to your running back, don't get a touchdown. But if you're gonna do that,
don't score.
Then take some knees.
Yeah,
and just waste all the time. And also, Eli Manning, when you're fucking sitting there with 20 seconds on the clock after the referee sat there for fucking 2 minutes going, I want 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Guys, put 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. And then the clock just starts going. What the fuck is happening? God, that's how frustrating this game was.
You're getting all red, too.
Oh,
It's
God,
funny.
it's so angry.
I think this is the first time I've seen you get, like, beat red during a podcast.
What the fuck happened in that game? Eli Manning sitting there 20 seconds left on the play clock. They're wasting time. And he goes, hike. What the fuck? No. You got 20 seconds left. Waste that shit.
On the other side, though, Julio Jones looked great on Monday night.
Julio Jones is a champion.
And I mean, I feel like my Falcons may get a little bit of an edge in this one because if Matt Ryan can find Julio Jones, if the Giants do the same thing that they did on Sunday night,
we're going to throw it fucking out the end of the end zone. Why, Eli? Why? Why the fuck did you do that? What the fuck's wrong with you?
But last thing we'll do to end the podcast is, as you guys know, we started this last week. We're going to add someone new into it. Steve, our staff writer on mostvaluablepodcast.com. We will give him a random game on top of the 5 picks. You can go to the YouTube channel or link down in the description of this podcast. We have 5 games that we chose. We did a video for week 2, our picks, but there's one extra game that we surprise each other. Mark, you go first. What game are you giving me this week?
Now you can correct me if this is a game that we're going to talk about anyways. But the game I want to give you, Ricky, I think you will really appreciate this. The Rams and the Redskins.
Ooh, this is not a game that we did in the video. I'm going to go Rams. And the main reason being Nick Foles. Kirk Cousins is not a real quarterback. And I guarantee Tavon Austin will have 1 special teams touchdown. Rams winning this. And plus that defense, I mean, come on. That defense, if they can beat Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, if they can shut down Marshawn Lynch at the 1, they can shut down Alfred Morris.
The one thing I think about this game, I think it might be a trap game. Only because you just beat the Seahawks.
It's got that possibility, yes.
There's such a good possibility to get a little too cocky and let these Redskins come in here and surprise you. Just telling the Rams, watch yourselves. Be careful.
I'm going to give you this game because I kind of have a feeling I know what you're going to do.
I bet you do.
Cardinals Bears.
All right, this is a good one. This is the oldest rivalry in NFL history.
The Chicago Cardinals versus the Chicago Bears.
Because it has the only 2 founding teams from the league. So this one's a good one. The Cardinals defense is a great defense. Unlike the Packers defense, which is not a good defense. And Matt Forte could do whatever the hell he wanted against them. But, they didn't look as good as you would expect. The Chicago Bears' biggest mistakes, those cornerbacks exist. They're on the team. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is they can't score in the red zone. They just do not have the ability to do that. Mostly because Brandon Marshall's replacement isn't there. So his new replacement is Eddie Royal. Eddie Royal's not jump balling that stuff. And then the third mistake, this is just complaining from the last game. Why we ran the ball so well for 3 quarters?
Oh,
Why
Matt
in the
Forte
fourth,
looked amazing.
Why in the fourth quarter did we become a passing team?
Because Jay Cutler needed to prove himself, Mark.
I don't know. We're going to pass the ball. What the fuck?
Jay Cutler needed to prove himself.
What the fuck is that shit? I'll say, though, man, Jordan Matthews, the other Matthews, man, is he fucking... Did you see him run all the way across the field? God damn, that guy's fast. Not only fast,
You're talking about Ryan Matthews?
No, not Ryan Matthews.
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews. There we go. Yeah, man.
Because Jordan Matthews and Clay Matthews are not related.
No, they're not at all.
You're thinking of, like, I know who he's also
No,
on the
I just
Eagles.
said Jordan Matthews because he's on my fantasy team.
Casey Matthews.
I was thinking
it's
of
Casey and Clay who are brothers.
Yeah, but I was thinking of Jordan Matthews because he's on my fantasy team, and I spent all of last night going, just pass the ball to Jordan Matthews. He's right there. Pass the ball to him.
13 times.
Yeah, but not to start the game. I was a little nervous for like the first half of that game, and they're not passing the ball to him. But to answer your question, the Chicago Bears are going to win this game.
I knew you were going to.
They're going to win the game.
That's why I gave you this game.
Matt Forte is going to just do what Matt Forte does. He's going to walk down there. Jay Cutler's occasionally going to throw the ball. The defense is going to give up a lot of points, but it's going to be great.
We got to get you some sunglasses, a little vest that says Bears on it, a mustache.
The thing that the Bears need to do is they got to sack a quarterback at some point, though.
Hey, this guy, they could injure this one.
They could easily. I hear he's made of glass.
But yeah, I kind of gave you this one because I knew
the Bears going to win it.
I knew who you were going to pick in
16-0, baby.
So a little strategery by me to hopefully get a game on you for this one. But
I'm 0-5 right now in predictions.
What game? Close.
Yeah.
I think you are 0-5.
I think so.
But what game should we give Steve? A random game that we didn't do in the video.
Yeah.
We've got Houston, Carolina, Buccaneers, Saints, Lions, Vikings, Titans, Browns, Falcons, Giants, Jaguars, Dolphins, Ravens, Raiders, or Jets, Colts.
What
should we give them?
That is a tough
I'm kind of leaning towards Houston, Carolina, because I'm interested with that game. I'm interested.
I think that's a good pick.
And just so everyone knows, his pick for that is he thinks Panthers will beat the Texans. Texans' offense is not very good, is what he said. So that is his
got
pick.
A point.
That is his
He has
pick
a point
for that one. So Steve takes Panthers over Texans. You take Bears over Cardinals.
That's right.
I took the Rams over the Redskins for our surprise picks. Like I said, go check the link down low in the description for our NFL picks video for this week number 2. Is there anything else that we missed here, Mark? About week 2, week 1?
One thing needs to be said. Fire Tom Coughlin.
Okay, fire Tom Coughlin. That's what that needs to be said. We need
And
to start
fire
that now.
fucking ref.
We need to start the hashtag fire Coughlin.
You know what? Move the Giants to L.A. Fuck it. You guys go to L.A. now.
Week 1 overreactions. They're never dull. But that is going to do it for the onside kick this week. I want to thank you guys for checking out the podcast. You can hit the like button if you like the podcast. Hit the subscribe button if you are watching it on YouTube and loved it. If you're on SoundCloud, please hit that follow button. You can follow me on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. Mark is at the with 2 E's. Mark Weber, Most Valuable Podcast, is at Most Valuable Pod. You can check out my way too early mock draft at mostvaluablepodcast.com. Thank you guys for checking out this podcast again. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.